All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. And what I want to get into today is dealing with invaluable, invaluable and the opportunity, that we have, all right, as Israelites, okay, in this latter time, is invaluable. The Lord has raised up a remnant in these last days, okay, for the sake of deliverance, okay, and being joint heirs with Yahweh Shai, and that's invaluable, man. This opportunity that's right in front of us is invaluable. You can't put a value on it, in this world, in this age, all right. Everything that we can get in this society can be quantified, okay. That's why people say you have $100,000 paying job. You have a $3 million house. You know, you have a $100,000 car. You see, anything in this society, that we can get, okay, can be quantified. All right, but the blessings that we're coming into, it can't be quantified because it's an eternal blessing. Okay, you're not going to be able to put a number on the blessing that the Lord is getting ready to give to His people. It's invaluable. You know, it can't be measured. You see, and understanding what we're a part of and what we're fighting for should make us want to fight the more and put off this world the more. You know, because I want to start here in the book of Matthew chapter 30, no Matthew chapter 13. So like in verse 44, it says again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure hid in a field, the which when a man have found, he hideth, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he have. Okay, and for joy thereof go and selleth all that he have and buyeth that field. Okay, reading on, it says again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking godly goods, goodly pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and brought it. Okay, so we have to look at the heaven we have to look at the opportunity that we have to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai, the kingdom that the Lord is about to bring to the earth. Okay, and to have a chance to be, in the rankings, okay, of great men forever. You know, the perks that come with that. We have to look at these things as invaluable, man. If we found something, the Lord calls us to stumble on something, okay, that's truly precious, man. Okay, beyond measure. And when you value something, it shows in your actions. Because you look at this parable, okay, and you had two men, one found a treasure, okay, in the field, and he hid that treasure and went and sold all he had and bought the field, okay, to ensure that he will have that treasure, okay, because in this truth, man, because this is a journey, and as we embark upon the journey of salvation and deliverance, man, we, all right, begin to shed things of this world, okay, and invest more into the truth, man, invest more into the kingdom, man. As we see value, when you see value in something, you begin to invest in it. Okay, you have people, that are obsessed with, keeping their cars clean. You know, always putting money into it, always, getting the new this and the new that, because they see value in their car. If people have a business on this side, all right, and they value their business, well, you see that, they work those 17, 18-hour days, always reinvesting into the business. Okay, they would invest in their business before they even invest into their own home, because they see the value All right, they see some value in their business. Okay, so with us, as we see value in the kingdom that we read about, you know, and we really start to believe in the value of it, then we begin to invest more into it. We begin to spend more time into it. We begin to invest even actual money into it. Okay, we begin to neglect things in order to invest for that. We begin to pull out of, because like I say, if you had a business in the world, you know, like what do? You'll put your personal revenue, okay. You'll invest your personal revenue to keep the business going, okay. You'll pull out of the pot for your personal, you know, to invest more into your business if you have some type of faith or hope in that business being valuable, man. Okay? So in the truth, man, we begin to pull, resources from, different places and start to pour into this, man. You know? We probably, you probably used to work, 45, 50, 55 hours a week, and then all right, as you progress in the truth, this is just an example. You start to see the value in this thing. You start to pull back, from working all those hours, especially if it's not needed. Okay, especially the Lord got you in a good place. You start to scale back, that time from work to pour into the truth. And that's just an example. All right, and it's a mindset that we should be in, always looking at ways that we can pull from, our worldly resources and pour into the truth, man. The resources is time, energy. Okay, you see, it ain't just money, but time and energy is a major resource. That we was taught to invest all our time and resources into this world. To be producers and consumers. You know, but as we wake up to the gimmicks, and the scams of this world, and we are enlightened by the invaluable, kingdom to come. Okay, we begin to move different. We begin to sacrifice different, man. You know, someone shows value in something by their actions, man. Okay, not with their mouth, not with what they're saying. Flattering words can say anything. But it takes action that shows that you're serious about something, man. Okay, because the mouth, as the scripture say, lip service. These people honor me with their lips, all right, but their hearts, their mind is far from Him. You know, so our people honor the Most High with their lips, but when it comes to actions, when it comes to sacrifice, you don't see many. It's only a very few whom the Lord has, blessed to see the value in what's to come. Okay, that's why you go here to Second Peter, not First Peter, I think. Let's go here, First Peter, um, chapter 2. All right, this is on First Peter chapter 2, in verse 6. I started at 6. It says, "Wherefore also it is contained in the scriptures, Behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone." Okay, and that's Yahweh Shai, elect, precious. Okay, and precious goes into a value, you know, and see only the elect see the value in Yahweh Shai, and it's going to go into it. It says, "And he that believeth on Him shall not be confounded," man. You know, and as we believe on Yahweh Shai, we're not going to be confounded as how this thing play out. See, we're finna see a lot of people be confounded that have trust, in this world. They have trust in this society. They have trust, in their investments in this world. People got, there's a thing Jake like to say, you got motion. All these people that got motion in this world, which there's nothing wrong with having motion, okay? But the number one motion we should have is in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. The Lord gives us liberty, to have motion in our day to day, because we got to sustain ourselves, man, to teach this word, so there's a balance, all right? But our people, they have they're leaning fully on the motion and the investments that they have in this society. Okay, and they're going to be confounded because it's going to fail. Okay, it don't matter how much our people have in the bank, it's going to fail. It don't matter how many successful ventures, business ventures that our people have, it's going to fail. Okay, it don't matter how much education in this world that our people have, it's going to fail. They're going to be confounded. You know, no matter what our people are into, okay, that's outside of Yahweh Bashem Shai, it's going to be confounded. But those that have invested in Yahweh Shai are not going to be confounded, okay, which is another word for disappointed, okay? We're not going to be disappointed how this thing unfolds, man, okay? Hey, we're going to be beyond satisfied with how this thing unfolds, man, according to prophecy, okay? So reading on, 1 Peter 2:7, it says, unto you therefore which believe, he is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner. So unto you therefore that believe, he is precious. Okay? Unto you therefore that believe, he is precious, man. All right? And precious, when you look at something that's precious, you look at it as something that's valuable, man. Okay? And we see the value in Yahweh Shai. We see the vision of Yahweh Shai that he's about to bring to the earth, man. A righteous kingdom. Okay? We can see the vision, and we invest in that, man. You know? And what a privilege to be able to see that. It says, unto you that believe. So remember, faith is what? Let's go here to Ephesians. It said, for you that believe, okay, he is precious, man, Yahweh Shai. So you go to Ephesians chapter 2. All right. In verse 8, for by grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of the Most High. So this grace period was a gift. Yahweh Shai had to be that sacrifice, and faith is a gift, man. Okay? And with this faith, we use this grace period to what? Conform to Yahweh Shai. To invest into Yahweh Shai, man. When we begin to change our conduct, our behavior, we begin to sacrifice, separate from this world, become dead to particular things of this world, that's us investing in Yahweh Shai within this grace period, man. And this faith that calls us to do that, which is a gift. So those that have the gift of faith, Yahweh Shai is precious, man. Yahweh Shai is invaluable, man. As long as we got Yahweh Shai, we good. And I constantly say that, man. Like brothers understand, man. Hey, we should be in the spirit to impress Yahweh Shai, man. That's the only thing we should be trying to impress as Israelite men is Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, man. Okay? Because that's invaluable, man. To have a relationship, to be in good standings as an Israelite man with Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, there's nothing above that, man. There's nothing that even compares. You see? And see, those that believe is going to be precious, man. All right? And you women that see the value in those men, okay, it's going to go well for you. Okay? If you truly see the value in those men. Because this world, has taught, all right, this rulership, all right, this beast system has taught the world to look at the Israelite man with complete disdain, to see no value, all right, in the Israelite man. That's why our women, for the longest, have been parading themselves and chanting around the earth how they don't need a man because they was taught not to see value, all right, in the Israelite man. Okay? Because these same women, that say they don't need a man, and be the same women, all right, that invest their whole life into Esau's corporations, man. They invest in their whole life into the ventures of Esau Edom. Okay? So as we are being born again, as men and women, we begin to think different. We have a different value system. Okay? That's why even you go here, Luke 16 and 15. Okay? This is the book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 15. It says, and he said unto them, ye are they which justify yourselves before men, but the Most High knoweth your hearts. For that which is, okay, that which is highly esteemed or something that's highly valued among man is abomination in the sight of the Most High. Okay, and that's why things that we used to highly value are abomination to us now, man. You know, there's things that we highly valued in this world that are complete abomination to Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, man. You see? But as we've been born again, our values change, man. What we value, what we prioritize, what we look at as valuable, okay, begins to completely change. Okay? So, the things that this world highly esteems has no value with Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. You know, look at the world of these things. Look at the things that this world esteems. Okay, you look at having a lot of money. Okay, having a lot of clout. You know, a baddie, a street nigga. Like you look at the things, an athlete. The Lord don't esteem these things, man. All right. Yeah, how about Shemal Shah don't give a damn about these things that are highly esteemed or valuable in this world, in this age. Okay. There's a whole new system that's coming in righteousness, man, where value is going to be reset in the earth, man. Okay? It's going to go back to true merit, integrity, honor, loyalty. These things are going to be things of value, man. Wisdom. These things are going to be the thing of value, man. True wisdom, man. Okay? Not what this world has considered value, man. You know, seen niggas arguing about who got the most views, who got the most followers. Having a lot of followers, that's not gonna be valuable in the kingdom, man. Okay, clout, just vain clout. Niggas are just popular and famous for nothing. Nigga, woman just popular and famous for nothing, man. Okay, value for nothing. Okay, nah, man. True value is gonna go back, to skill, to hard work. I say to righteousness, to honesty. That's going to be the things valued in the kingdom to come. Okay, and reading this the brother GMS all in the brother Anah. This Isaiah 13:12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than a golden wedge of Ophir. And what's making us valuable, man? Is being tapped in with Yahweh Shai. As Israelite men, that's how we add value to ourselves, man. That's the highest value that we can add. Now in this world, you add value to yourself as a man by gaining skill, which as men, we're in this society, and we got to make do. So, there's nothing wrong with adding value to yourself, adding skill to yourself in this world, because this will add values to you as a man. Okay? But the thing is, just to add to it, the highest, all right, form of value that we can add to ourselves is being in good standings with Yahweh Shai, man, conforming to Yahweh Shai. There's no comparison, man. There's no close second when it comes to being in the good grace, all right, and good standings with Yahweh Shai, man. Okay, now let's go. Let's go here, and I get them real quick. Get Apostle Paul. All right, this the book of this the book of Philippians chapter 3 verse 7. It said, "But what things were gained to me, those I counted lost for Hamashiach." Because you go into the story of Apostle Paul. He was a man of renown. He was born a free man, a Roman citizen. He was from a notable house. And he had reverence. His family had reverence. Amongst the Romans. And amongst the Judeans. Those of the upper class. Of Judea. Okay, the priests. The Sanhedrin, as they would say. Okay, but as he was gaining Yahweh Shai, as he was growing in Yahweh Shai, and he was, decreasing, in worldly status and in favor amongst, the Sanhedrin, he say, look, I count all that lost, man. You know, And that's the mind that we have to have, because he began to not to see the value in those things anymore. There's things that we was highly invested into before the truth, man, and now we don't even look at those things of any value, man. There's certain things that I thought I was gonna be doing my whole life that I don't even see the value in those things anymore, man. There's particular things that I put down that I invested a lot of my life into, man. I couldn't see myself not doing it. Okay, but as we've had this calling, okay, there's things that we walk away from. As Peter asked, we forsaken all and follow thee. What should we have here for after, man? You know, and Yahweh shot like, look, man, you know, anything that you left, you're gonna get 100-fold. You know, and we have to really believe those things, and we believe these things, and we move forward, man. But there's just a lot of things in this world that we, don't even look at as having any value anymore, man. you know, things that we thought was just, the things that we esteem highly, no longer have value, man. Okay, so when you go to verse 8, it says, "Yeah, doubtless I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, my Lord, whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Yahweh Shai." So there's certain things that we count as dung, so that we can win Yahweh Shai, which means you don't see any value in it, man. But all the value is in Yahweh Shai. Okay, as we increase in Yahweh Shai, and see, we're serving the King. The King, once you're in good standings with the King, that open up doors that this world can't open for you, man. Okay, as we are tapped in or locked into serving our King, it open up doors that this world, all right, can't open, man. It puts us in a place of peace that this world doesn't offer, man. Okay, it gives us hope and comfort in the scriptures that this world can't offer. Okay, because right now it ain't about the material, man. We gonna increase in material things forever. You see, we gonna increase in these things forever. And like I say, there's nothing wrong with having substance or having things set up. Your revenue, however you got it. To have motion in this world, but that's not at the forefront anymore. Okay, that's not at the forefront that ain't why we here. Okay, we're obligated to these things. Okay, we're obligated to these things because we're still subjects in this kingdom. We're subjugated to payments to this day. We're still in captivity. Okay, but we're able to escape captivity through what? The hope that's in Yahweh Shai. You know, by serving Yahweh Shai, making ourselves servants and slaves to Yahweh Shai, prisoners to Yahweh Shai, man. It loosens us from this world, man. You know, to where we're not as obligated as we once had to be to this world, man, because we begin not to see the value in these things, man. Lust. You know, there was a time when just the company of a woman was every goddamn thing, man. But as we mature and becoming men in the truth, man, it's like just any random woman, was just a thing of value to us at one time, and now it's like there's absolutely no value in that, man. You know, you see, because we begin to have different desires, man. We begin to move with a different intention. See, we become intentional in the truth. That's one thing about it. The world just has us so random, and that's why we used to see value in random things, because this world just has us on a random. We just out here random. Okay, my brother put that definition of random. Just on some random shit. That's why we found value in just random things. But as we become men of purpose, as the Lord has shown us our purpose, and we're growing in our office and in our purpose, we become intentional, man. Okay, to where randomness has no value, man. Okay, so Let's go here. So your brother got some more. Just the brother GMS all in 144. All right. The brother Anah. This is Rock 10 and 21. It said, "The fear of the Lord goeth before the obtaining of authority, but roughness and pride is the losing thereof." All right. So the fear of the Lord, you know, and that's the thing that's valuable as well, invaluable, man. Because the fear of the Lord is keeping us away from that judgment, man. Okay, the fear of the Lord creates boundaries, all right, to where we're not, being offensive to Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. We're not being offensive to the brethren, man. The fear of the Lord, it governs us in a way that keeps us in check, a thing what they call self-government, temperance, But in order to have true temperance, there has to be a fear of Yahweh Bashim Al Shah to really have true self-discipline, man, and self-government. As you go into 1 Corinthians 9 and 24, it goes into that, he described for the mastery, okay, is temperate in all things, you know, and to have true temperance, okay, that self-government, there has to be an element of fear, all right, of reverence for Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, and that's a quality that we must have, you know, before we come into honor, all right. Verse 22, it says, "Whether he be rich, noble, or poor, their glory is the fear of the Lord." You see, we value things differently now. Okay, of course, as men, we have responsibilities, so we know that money is the defense, but we don't prior towards money over our relationship with Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Long, hey, if we're rich in the Lord, okay, the Lord begins to make things, all right, happen. Even in that practical life, man. Now we have to be in motion. We have to, be proactive and, you know, go be hands on as men. Okay, we gotta put our boots on the ground as men. Okay, but as we, increase in the Lord, He increases in His favor, man. Okay, and it's not even about, like I said, it's not even about money anymore. It's not about material things, man. We way beyond that now. You know, but being in a good standing with our power is above all these things, man. To wake up and have the fear of the Lord. You know, to live a life to live and move, okay, with restriction based on the fear of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. That's above physical money. You see, because if you're on the path to get new, okay, your riches don't matter. Okay, if your trajectory, okay, in this life is to be new, then your riches, your status, your clout don't matter. It never did. Okay, if it's why Scripture say the end of a thing is better than the beginning. Okay, verse 24, Sirach 10 and 24, it says, "Great men and judges and potentates shall be honored." All right, and the potentate is a ruler. Okay, so these are men, high offices. It says, "Shall be honored, yet there is none of them greater," and greater goes into how you value something. That's a measurement. If something is greater, that is of a higher value, of a higher measure. Okay? It said, "Yet none of them greater than he that feareth the Lord." Okay? So the most valuable thing that we can be, okay, is men of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. All these titles that men have in the earth, yeah, they're honored, but the highest, all right, the thing that's most valuable to the Lord is His men that fear Him. So we begin to look at things in a completely different way. Okay, so let's go here. Now the brother put up a definition. The brother not GMS all in 144 says, "Being made more precious than fine gold as used in the Bible doesn't imply literal monetary value, but rather spiritual and relational value that is higher than material wealth, man." Okay, is spiritual or relational value that is higher than material wealth. Okay, because this world, because in this society, men have been reduced to income. Okay, men have been produced to what? Income and their ride. That's what this world has reduced men to. Okay, your ride and your income. Okay, whether you got both or just one. Okay, that's what men have been reduced to in this society. Okay, and there's a value that's far beyond that. Okay, that's relational in terms with our relationship with who? Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. Okay, reading on, it says it signifies something of greater importance like divine guidance, faith, or even the value of human life in a specific context. And it said divine guidance, because see, in the times will come, as the scriptures say, that we're going to be guided. You know, I read that second Esdras 16, like 71 and 72, how we're going to be guided in the times that we're coming into. Okay, so in order for us, all right, to be guided, well, we have to be in good standings with our power. The Lord not just gonna come to some random nigga and guide him through Jacob's trouble. No, the Lord finna set up most of our people for failure, man. You see, money not gonna have no value in Jacob's trouble. It's about who has a relationship with Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. It's about who's being guided by the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Who's being provided for by Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. You know, because you're not gonna be able to buy miracles. That's gonna come from, hey, being in good standards with our power. Miracles are only coming to a select few. Spiritual powers coming to a select few, man. You know, and see, power is gonna be a thing of value, and that's something that none of our people have. All right, from the richest to the poorest, none of our people have power. Only power that our people have is to destroy themselves and people that look like them. Okay, because that tough guy shit stop at certain points. You know, it's a certain mile radius where the toughest nigga, he ain't tough no more. Okay? He can be tough as he want inside this mile radius, okay, of other niggas. But once he step outside that boundary, that toughness go to zero. That he don't have that power anymore. Okay? It's our people that got money. Well, no matter how much money they have, there's still certain things that they can't be involved in. There's certain arenas that they're not allowed in. Don't give a damn how much money niggas got, man. All right, because even nigga with money, Esau still got them niggas in the box. Okay? Well, raw power is going to be something that's going to be given to those men that are in good standards with Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Okay? And that's going to factor into, you know, that value in that day. Okay? So reading on, all right? Okay, the brother put it up. This the brother require flowing brook. Okay, Shalak if I ain't say it right, bro. What it says, random. All right, is an adjective and it's from the 1650s. And it says having no definite aim or purpose. All right, haphazard, not sent in a special direction, man. And that sums up black culture perfectly. That sums up the matriarch perfectly, man. You know, and that's why our value system was so random, because we came from a culture that was random as hell. So we just value random things. Okay? Read the definition again. It says having no definite aim or purpose, haphazard, not sent in a special direction, man. Okay? And that's why the scriptures say where there is no vision, the people perish. Okay? Well, that's another lesson within itself, man, just off that, you know, definition, man. Okay? It says also an unknown, unspecified, or odd person, made, done, happening, or chosen without method or conscious decision, man. You know, and that pretty much sums up our culture of people, man. Random as hell. Okay, like I said, it's a whole another topic. And put that definition in the archive and revisit our Radazar. All right, this brother require. All right, Flo and Brook, Sirach 40 and 26. It said, riches and strength lift up the heart, but the fear of the Lord is above them both. And there is no want in the fear of the Lord, and it needed not to seek help. Okay? It said there's no want in the fear of the Lord, because going back to the point, in the time of calamity, okay, people are going to be lacking. The richest people are going to be in a position of lack because they're not going to have any power. They're not going to have any provision. They're not going to have any aid from on high. Okay, see, we're not going to be lacking. The Lord give us our daily bread now. So we're not lacking in anything. We have shelter, housing, transportation. We have the things that we need, okay, to sustain ourselves, man, as we do this work. Okay, so we're not lacking. And in a time of scarcity, we're not going to be lacking, man. People are going to be lacking in a major way, man. Okay, people that have the most, all right, are finna have the least in the times we're coming into, man. Okay, so this thing that we're a part of is invaluable, man. You can't put a value, okay, on what the Lord, has brought us into, man. The opportunity we've been presented with, man. And we should constantly show appreciation for that opportunity, man. All right. So that was a point, just want to tap into that. Lord will, you brothers. All right, there, you sisters edified. Till next time I say shalom. Kwam Yasha Allah. Abba, Abba, soon. Shalom.